Hello, and welcome to American History. All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating figures in American history, a man whose name is literally synonymous with betrayal, but who was also, for a time, America's greatest hero. We're talking about Benedict Arnold. A man of the blackest treason. Whoa, those are some heavy words, right? Especially coming from someone like Alexander Hamilton. And look, he wasn't kidding around. Back in 1780, the entire American Revolution almost came crashing down, not because of a battle, but because of one single act of betrayal from its most celebrated general. If you enjoy this video, please consider subscribing to our channel. It really helps a lot. Now, to our story. It all fell apart in just a few chaotic days. A secret plot to hand over West Point, America's most critical fortress, was suddenly blown wide open. The British spy, Major Andre, gets caught with incriminating papers stuffed in his boot, of all places. This forces Benedict Arnold to make a mad dash for his life, leaving General Washington to show up and discover the absolutely shocking truth. So, the big question here isn't really what he did. We know that part. The real mystery is why. How on earth does a nation's greatest hero become its most hated traitor? To even begin to understand the villain, you first have to understand the hero. So we've got to go back to when Benedict Arnold was the Revolution's one-man army. Okay, so before the name Benedict Arnold meant traitor, he was actually a pretty successful merchant in Connecticut. He absolutely hated British taxes, like the Stamp Act, so he joined the Sons of Liberty and was even smuggling goods to stick it to the crown. So, when the war finally broke out, he was ready to go. He was all in. And when he joined the army, wow, he wasn't just a soldier, he was the soldier, an absolute force of nature. His first few years in the war were just this string of incredibly gutsy, almost unbelievable victories that made him look completely indispensable. So check this out. You start to see a pattern with this guy, right? He takes on these impossible missions, and through just his sheer force of will, he manages to turn even his defeats into massive strategic wins for the Americans. I mean, just imagine this. This march to Quebec, it was a total logistical nightmare. His men were wading through freezing water, their boats were leaking, ruining all their food and gunpowder. Just 2 weeks in, they were already on half rations. This whole ordeal would have broken pretty much any other commander, but not Arnold. He just kept pushing, cementing his reputation for being unbelievable. And he just keeps doing it. Next up, Valcour Island on Lake Champlain. The odds were, well, they were impossible. So what does he do? He builds a fleet from scratch, mans it with farmers who've never been on a warship, and decides to take on the full power of the British Royal Navy. It's just audacious. And this is where you really see his genius shine. Did he win the battle? No, he lost almost all of his ships. But what he did do was stall the British invasion for over a month. He forced them to retreat all the way back to Canada for the winter. That 1 year of delay he bought the Americans was priceless. It gave them time to regroup for what would become the most important battle of the war. And that brings us to Saratoga. This was the turning point of the entire revolution. It's where Arnold's heroism would hit its absolute peak. And, ironically, it's where the cracks in his loyalty would start to tear wide open. So picture this. He's stuck in the rear, basically benched by his commanding officer, General Gates. He's watching the American lines start to crumble. He can't take it, so he defies a direct order, jumps on his horse, and leads this insane, ferocious charge that just shatters the enemy. He single-handedly delivers the single most important victory of the entire war. But you know what happened next? In the official report that Gates sends to Congress, it's like Arnold was never even there. He was completely erased from the story. This was a huge public slap in the face. And to make it even worse, Congress then promotes 5 junior officers. For a man like Arnold, obsessed with honor, the damage was done. So now he's got the shattered leg from the battle, he's in constant pain for the rest of his life, and he is just seething with this deep, burning sense of injustice. He gets appointed as the military governor of Philadelphia, and it's here that the road to treason really begins. He's living way beyond his means, drowning in debt, and this is where a woman named Peggy Shippen enters the picture, and she is a game changer. She's young, well-connected, and her family has strong loyalist sympathies. Her friendship with the British spymaster, John Andre, who you remember had the plot in his boot, made this marriage more than just a romance. It was a direct line to the enemy. Okay, so let's just recap what's going through his head here. He feels completely cornered, he's broke, he's been publicly humiliated by his own mentor George Washington over what he saw as minor charges, and he truly believes that a corrupt government has ignored all his sacrifices. It was in this state of mind that he started his secret talks with the British. So he did it. He put a price tag on his country, £20,000, a fortune back then, to surrender West Point. And in August of 1780, George Washington, completely unaware of the plot, gives him exactly what he needs, command of that very fortress. And the second he gets command, he starts gutting the place from the inside out. He starts deliberately weakening the fort's defenses, scattering his troops, letting critical supplies dwindle, all while feeding intel to the British. He was setting a trap that was designed to end the American Revolution for good. So he escapes, gets his commission in the British Army. But if he was expecting a hero's welcome, he was dead wrong. His life from here on out wasn't about glory. It was about revenge. Instead of glory, he led these absolutely brutal, punishing raids against his own people. He burned towns in Virginia, and maybe worst of all, in his own state of Connecticut, where his forces slaughtered American soldiers after they had surrendered. He forever cemented his reputation as a remorseless traitor. So in the end, did he get what he wanted? Not even close. The British never fully trusted him. I mean, who would? They saw him as a turncoat, not a hero. The man who betrayed an entire country for fame and fortune ended up with neither. He died nearly broke and despised on both sides of the Atlantic. Benedict Arnold is buried in the crypt of St. Mary's Church in Battersea in London. In the same church is a stained glass window commemorating him. So that brings us back to the big question, hero or villain? And the answer is, well, it's complicated. He was, without a doubt, a military genius. His early victories were absolutely crucial to America's survival. But he was also a man completely consumed by his own pride, who let his personal anger and resentment destroy everything. And maybe nothing captures this whole paradox better than a strange monument at Saratoga National Park. It's called the Boot Monument. It honors the heroic wound Arnold suffered there, but his name is nowhere on it. It's a memorial to a hero's sacrifice and a traitor's shame, all in one, leaving us to forever wonder about that thin, blurry line between glory and infamy. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, American History. Also, tickle the bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Let us know in the comments what you think of Arnold, and does his treatment by his superiors detract from them also? Until next time on American History.